right? Shoot me with that. That's a capitalist. He lives thinking about money, and he will die thinking about money. He'll never be happy, but he'll be dying thinking about money. Okay. So this new worldism, this is part of the new world. The old world, this will be a more balanced world. Nobody has an exact tract on what it would be, but I could visualize this type of thing. They'll limit a little bit on how much wealth you can acquire, at least knowing, you know what I mean. You get $2-3 million, it's fine. But we're not going to let you go actually starve to death, you know. It'll be something like, believe it or not, Sweden, Denmark, and them countries, they have, believe it or not, they actually have where you don't do too bad, you know. Okay. I'm going to talk about Iran and others later. But our home folks, I'll talk about them next go round. The hero scripts, they ought to make the movies they can make right now for themselves. But the coming revolution, public ownership will probably be a part of public ownership, like it won't be private ownership of Safeway and Lucky's and all this. Be public ownership. The people own the big companies. They own and they run them, you know. And they'll just confiscate it all. Well, just imagine if the people produce all this stuff and sell it and they divide up. That'll be a little bit better, you know. So that means the collection and distribution, property, land, everybody should have to have some land that they own, their own property. And most people, believe it or not, used to have land. They used to have property. They used to actually be property owners. But they had some tricks. Buy, get yourself over, doop, and then they build up. Then the white man snatches all the money out of the stock market, and they did it to him 4 or 5 times. I remember 87, then in 2001, 2000, and every time I said, now what they ought to do while it's a 600, they ought to buy. And then they didn't do it this time, but those other 3 times they did it just like that. Buy at 600, and then it goes up. I said, man, it's up to 1,000. It's up to 1,500, man. It's on the road. Then the white man would bring it, crash it, and take the money. That's how everybody got broke. They buy a house, they blow the house price of a house up. You can have this house, man, for little or nothing, and, right? Then they crash it, and he loses his house. People that were wealthy lost out. Redistribution of property, land. Cannot stop it. I put 99% chance this is going to happen. Coming revolution or coming evolution. Public ownership, anti-slavery, anti-Wall Street rebellion. So this is anti-Wall Street. Or the revolution is always anti-rich. Why? Because wherever it is, the rich that got all the money, and these dummies don't leave none for nobody. If I was rich, I'd say, I'll tell you what, hey man, let's spend about 20% of what we done stole and spread it around for everybody to get some. Why? Because we're going to get all of that back anyway. The system is rigged for us. So when they give us that 20% back plus what that inflated to, which would be 75%, well, we'll give 20% back of that and keep, you know what I mean? Keep them having money. Keep them happy. They won't do it. They have to take $1 zillion and get on a damn ship. That's why they shot hung the lady, put her in the guillotine. People of Paris have no food, no bread. Hell, let them eat cake. They didn't like that. Eat cake, fluffy cake, and we ain't got no bread? Why, white lady, you making fun of us. So off with that girl's head. That was the last time you ever heard anybody say let them eat cake when they was hungry, right? What are they going to do with all these politicians? They don't have confidence in them. And because they got two teams, that's even better for a revolution, because at every revolution, it's going this way. One part is for a revolution, the other part is counter-revolutionary. That guarantees you. Everything that's happening now guarantees. It may come at the end of the next go-round, which is only next year, I think, or a little bit farther than that. Other than that, this one is over. So we're going to get busy. Don't worry, we're going to go back to what we was talking about and what we was doing. Okay, broken connection. Nationalized people ownership, that's right, we already talked about that. Truck robberies, highway patrol. See, all the people, you can see when the Congress, which they consider fat cats, don't say all those nice, poor, middle class people saved our lives. The dumbest thing in the world. Now, that don't mean that the police was nice. Can you imagine niggas going up there doing that at the White House, at the Congress? Oh, boy. They'd have shot holes in niggas' head 15 miles away if they even heard that we was headed that way. If they shoot a black woman with a little baby in the back for just driving up and speeding around, what will they do to Negroes? Everybody repeats that because everybody know it. Well, you'd be blown away. What do you think would be happening? Right? Did the great Congress say, we really thank y'all? No, half of them said, you guys, first they said it, then after that they said, you guys, there's something smelly going on. And I was looking at the police the other day, he was actually crying. Not that I felt sorry for him or nothing, you know, a war vet and all that. And a big old Negro, you ever seen him on TV? The big old Negro guy? How brokenhearted they was. They was brokenhearted. Okay, at this period, there's always some buffoon, some dictatorial crackpot like Trump, right? He guarantees this is going to happen because he hasn't gone away. He hasn't gone away, therefore they have to keep something going, right? Whatever they have, keep going. One group gets more over here, the other group that's with him gets farther over there. Can't help it. Nah, I ain't claiming we know anything, but we said, soon as we saw Trump, we said, Trump, he's going to destroy the Republican Party. 2 weeks later, we said, he's going to destroy America. Does anybody remember that? He's going to finish off America. That's his job. Okay. Well, everybody got the pattern. I'll be a little clear about this. I just zipped this down right quick. So You could see any of this on today's news. Everything is just out there. So are there any questions or any comments about anything that we said? And I asked the question, does any of this make any sense?
One of the things I wanted to ask is like this, with everybody kind of fracturing to their own, separate groups.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think this would be possible, but what is your thought on, say, the United States catching itself in, say, a race war?
That's possible, but not likely. That's not likely. It's
That's what I've been hearing. People talking about race war.
That's what they're putting. They're putting that out. They're putting that out. It's going to be a fight, and it's going to be between races.
Yeah, they're putting that out.
No. They're trying to get the heat off themselves. Because all the people which got sense and said it ain't us. What did we do? We hungrier than you. And if the people were to start fighting, then that means the dumb police would be used. Now, the police are going to be allies. That's why it has to be some people who are thinking, who are not neutral, but hey, they're watching. So they can add into, at the risk of their own lives, say, hold it. You're a Mexican and you're fighting another Mexican? You need some thinking. Oh, you're black and you're fighting another black? Oh, you're white and fighting another white? Well, what about which one of the black people put you in this position? Which one of the Mexicans stole your house? Mexicans put you out of your house? Who did that? Right? Which bank, Negro bank, which bank put you white folk, you living in your cracker box house on the street, because of what black person? Somebody's got to be there to remind them, right? They already have to have the stuff printed up. If they let it go, yeah, they would they would put it that way. That's to get the heat off themselves. To get the heat off themselves. I'm not saying we got nothing to do with it, but we're not going to sit around and watch nobody do each other in, right? And there's other people that have some sense. There are some humanitarians, and that group is growing bigger. Whether it's the people who are environmentalists and all of this, they ain't got nothing against nobody, right? And even if we're not around, somebody gonna have, this I believe, gonna have enough sense to say, hold it, we ain't going for that. Yeah, and this is our hope. Only thing we know, not for certain, but we have a good idea about, that this thing is going up in smoke. Enjoy the last few months, weeks, maybe even years of semi-tranquility, because it's gone. It's got to go. There's no historical way this can hold on and hold on. It just won't happen. So are there any more questions or comments about any of this? Yeah. Okay.
What are your thoughts on what are the rich people thinking? Because they got to be educated. They got the resources. They can see the landscape too.
Right.
So, I'm just wondering, get your thoughts on, the rich people got to be looking at this thinking, hey, I need to figure out some way to head this thing off.
They're not doing it. They're trying to head people off. The media trying to head people off, blame it on these people, but it's not working. It's not working. Go back to the original. Why are you on the street? What Negro pulled a string to put you out here? Who did that? Well, the bank did it. They did, okay, who was in the bank? Who owned the bank? Who owned all of that? A conglomerate of people own that bank, not me. You know, you're going to send me to the firing squad for what? For what? Por qué? Yeah, right? Uh, the thing is, during the transition, is to keep reason. And they won't be able to cut it off because of sidebar type communication, whether it's Facebook, whether it's this or that, people will cut through the shenanigans. It'll be enough, I believe, that it'll be enough people that are grounded in reality, you know, that will help keep the people focused.